Invasion Day on the English Channel. Allied fighting men equipped with all types of firepower, with tanks, trucks, and bulldozers, board landing craft for the long-anticipated assault on Fortress Europe. The breaching of the German West Wall is only another of the raids to beat down our enemy. North Africa, Sicily, Italy, New Guinea, the Bismarcks, the Solomons, the Carolines, the Marianas, and now France. Here on the coast of Normandy, Allied troops slash into Germans in the greatest amphibious operation of all time. Thousands of landing craft of all kinds unload the fighting men on the beaches. With the regularity that comes from careful planning and from the machines to help carry out the plans, landing craft come on in waves, waves of destruction for the Nazis in their breached and blasted fortress. This is June 6th, D-Day on the French coast. At Detroit Diesel on D-Day-1, workers turn out to celebrate the completion of the 100,000th GM diesel invasion engine. General Manager W.T. Crow congratulates Factory Superintendent Jack Forsyth and other plant representatives on their accomplishment, and the men and women of Diesel are proud of their record. To Mr. C.F. Kettering, Vice President of General Motors, who with his research men has contributed much to the development of Diesel, falls the honor of presenting the 100,000th Diesel to the Navy.
Mr. Crow, ladies and gentlemen of the Detroit Diesel, it's a great thrill to me to be out here and see this tremendous expansion that's come in this business. As Bill tried to give you an outline of the ups and downs of any new thing, but when you think of in only 6 years' time, we've gone from a shop that was hoping the engine would work to one in which we have this tremendous pressure, and this 100,000 engines represents 22 million horsepower. Of course, in this power war that we're in now, horsepower, we have to have a plenty. As you know, when we were running a normal automobile year, when we was making, say, 4 million cars, if you counted each car 50 horsepower, that was 200 million horsepower that we were turning out each year in automobile engines. Well, now with all the aircraft and all the diesels and everything, the amount of horsepower that's taken to overcome these peculiar ideas that Mr. Hitler had is quite sizable. I know of no one that I would sooner present this engine to or unveil it in his presence than Admiral Taylor, who's here today. So, Admiral. Admiral Taylor, Admiral Taylor, I take great pleasure in presenting to you, as a representative of the United States Navy, this 100,000th engine. Thank you very much, Mr. Kettering. Fellow Americans, it is indeed a pleasure and a privilege to represent Secretary of the Navy Firestyle here today on the occasion which marks the delivery of the first 100,000 diesel landing craft engine to your Navy.
The 100,000th Diesel, ready to follow up Invasion Day. 100,000 engines representing 22 million horsepower. 100,000 engines whose parts are completely interchangeable. 100,000 engines carrying men and weapons and materials to every battlefront, generating power for searchlights and water purification and all the necessities of life in battle areas, powering the giant bulldozers that chop landing fields and roadways from the forest. Today, all over the world, American men and American machines are fighting a war of destruction so that with victory, they may devote themselves to constructive, lasting peacetime effort.
It's the show for 1944 with emphasis on air-mindedness. The industries of Detroit join with the Army in the Army Air Show at the Detroit Airport. It's a far cry from the first automobile show, which introduced those flashy models of 1900 and 1901. But the Air Show follows in that tradition, with just about all of Detroit's industries represented. That's the GM exhibit there, for instance, marked by the glistening tent. Crowds pack jam the show every day, and there are special sessions like this morning's for night shift war workers and their families. Most of the old favorites of the days before gasoline rationing are here. Today, they're displaying machines of war in place of straight eights and convertible coupes with white sidewall tires. Here's Cadillac's M5 tank, Pontiac's anti-aircraft gun, Oldsmobile's automatic aircraft cannon, and here's Packard and Hudson. Ford presents the amphibious Jeep. And here's the Ford assembled Liberator bomber, powered by Buick and Chevrolet-built Pratt & Whitney engines. These young ladies show keen interest in the Liberator. It's just like the one their Tom and Dick and Joe are using to blast the jets. General Motors, one of the largest producers of firepower, aviation power, and aircraft, is well represented. Chevrolet is here, and so is the Diesel Pancake. Fisher Body shows the General Sherman tank, one of the meanest weapons on tracks. Just ask Field Marshal Rommel. Johnny there tells his ma that Uncle Fred is a gunner on one of those babies. So Johnny wants to find out how the General Sherman takes them there and brings them back. He does. The airplanes draw the crowds, especially such favorites as Eastern Aircraft's Avenger torpedo bomber. But the big attraction seems to be over here. It's GM Truck and Coach's Duck. Do your stuff, Duck. And the Duck does, showing just how it helped in Africa, Sicily, Italy, and France. It's really something to hold the attention of these boys and girls. Sometimes there's hidden drama in a tank, in a gun, or in a plane that reminds somebody of somebody else in uniform. There is a comfort in the knowledge that the somebody out there has the best that can be built. And that comfort is what the 1944 show tries to bring to all the somebodies back here.
Step right up, folks, and see the Wildcat. The Wildcat that flies, the killer of Japs and Nazis. Not the only one in existence, the 2,500th of its kind. The flying, fighting, wilder Wildcat of Eastern Aircraft Division. And here she comes. The first of these General Motors Wildcats made their appearance at this same Linden plant on September 1st, 1942. Only 7 months after the formation of Eastern, a combination of 5 former GM automotive plants. That first Wildcat caused quite a lot of excitement around Linden. Since that memorable day, these powerful, stubby-winged, carrier-based warplanes have made history in the hands of Navy and Marine Corps aerial fighters. More than 10,000 of the folks of GM's Eastern Aircraft Division, the sole producers of the Wildcats, gathered in the Linden plant to witness the official christening and delivery to the United States Navy of the 2,500th of these famous fighter planes. George Auld, assistant manager at Linden and master of ceremonies, introduces P.E. Baugh, Linden plant manager. Officially representing the United States Navy, Rear Admiral C.H. Woodward salutes the workers of Eastern Aircraft Division for their fine record of producing 2,500 of these carrier-based fighter planes in such a brief period of time, in spite of almost constant design changes to keep the Wildcats the best lightweight fighter planes in combat service Eastern is turning out more combat planes for the Navy than any other single producer. Queen of the day and sponsor of the 2,500th Wildcat is vivacious Mary Martin, Broadway goddess and musical comedy star of One Touch of Venus. Well, here we go, folks. Bring on that bottle of champagne. And where's that flying, fighting Wilder Wildcat? Let's go.
Run, Socket.
Socket. Here, go ahead and socket.
Right on the button, Jerry.
Come on.
What you waiting for?
Let's go. Yes, now. Come on.
George. Socket.
There we go. Thus was christened a new and wilder Wildcat, destined to bring new combat strength and striking power to Navy and Marine Corps fighting pilots, and new credit to Eastern Aircraft Division of General Motors.
Indiana's largest Buick dealer is one of the first dealerships in the country to receive the Army-Navy E Award. When car production stopped, there was no retrenchment at Monarch Buick in Indianapolis. Monarch's enterprising president, William R. Kraft, went right out and found a war production job for his expert mechanics. Good mechanics can work it if it's made out of metal, said Mr. Kraft. So he acquired an adjoining building and organized a machine shop. Here, Monarch's mechanics machine critical parts for war goods. Opened just 2 years ago, by June 1st, Monarch had manufactured and shipped 250,000 pieces to prime war production plants. Monarch subcontracts for Allison and Delco Remy divisions of GM, Stewart Warner, Universal Gear, RCA Victor, and Curtiss Wright. A small war plant, but one of the best, says the Army and Navy, and they should know. Monarch people and their families are definitely a part of the war effort. Colonel Enos tells the Monarch organization their production record is outstanding, but no soldier on the battlefront or on the production front can rest until victory is ours. To them, Lieutenant Colonel G.M. Enos presents the E for excellence. For the Navy, Lieutenant Commander R.W. McGregor thanks Monarch for meritorious and distinguished service in time of need. The Governor of Indiana is on hand to congratulate Indiana's active sons. Monarch employee representatives received their E-pins from Private Richard Ensley, native Hoosier wounded at Anzio. For his organization, Mr. Kraft accepts the award and tells of some of the troubles that faced Monarch in the early days. At first, we didn't know which side of a turret lathe was up, says Mr. Kraft, but we rolled up our sleeves and found out. He pledges his organization to continue the good work, to make the Army and Navy as proud of Monarch as Monarch is of the E for excellence. But this is only a part of the excellent job done by the Monarch organization. Mr. Kraft has maintained a complete service setup, separate from the subcontracting machine shop, but essential too. Necessary trips must be made every day. This means automobiles need lubrication. A motor tune-up makes that older car perform better, helps speed our vital highway transportation. Wheel alignment saves wear and tear on tires that must travel extra miles. And there's service needed for cars that get into accidents that shouldn't happen but do. Today at Monarch, the servicing and repair of automobiles still goes on. And there are few jobs more important than that of helping the community to keep its transportation rolling.
Captain Don S. Gentili, famous American ace, pays visit to the GM division at Vandalia. The men and women who build propellers for several of Uncle Sam's fighter planes, including the Mustang, turn out in force to welcome the ace Mustang fighter pilot. Mr. W.J. Blanchard, General Manager of Aero Products, and Captain Gentili, with members of his family, arrive at the ceremony. We in Aero Products must continue to do our part, says Mr. Blanchard. Captain Gentili has certainly been doing his. He is a fighter pilot with 27 German planes to his credit. A fighter pilot decorated by General Eisenhower. The Aero Products folks meet the flying captain. I'd rather be flying a Mustang than making a speech, says Captain Gentili. So I'll just thank you for the propellers you've sent to the Air Forces and tell you that production and bond buying are the things you can do to keep the boys on the victory trail. Now for a look at the plant to see the aeroprop in the making. Yes, it's a good job, a great job that America is doing. It's craftsmen, technicians, and flyers working together to bring defeat to the enemy and a return to the way Americans like to live.